This video presents a short story called Gaston. It's one of my favorite short stories because of its simplicity. It's the story of a young girl and her father eating peaches in the afternoon in Paris. And while they're eating peaches, a spider comes out of one of them, and they have a conversation about it. Once again, I like this story because of its simplicity. Please enjoy it. Hey everybody. Today I would like to share with you a short story called Gaston. They were to eat peaches, as planned, after her nap, and now she sat across from the man who would have been a total stranger, except that he was in fact her father. They had been together again, although she couldn't quite remember when they had been together before, for almost 100 years now, or was it only since day before yesterday? Anyhow, they were together again, and he was kind of funny. First, he had the biggest mustache she had ever seen, although to her it was not a mustache at all. It was a lot of red and brown hair under his nose and around the ends of his mouth. Second, he wore a blue and white striped jersey instead of a shirt and tie, and no coat. His arms were covered with the same hair, only it was a little lighter and thinner. He wore blue slacks but no shoes and socks. He was barefoot, and so was she, of course. He was at home. She was with him in his home in Paris, if you could call it a home. He was very old, especially for a young man. 36, he had told her, and she was 6, just up from sleep on a very hot afternoon in August. That morning, on a little walk in the neighborhood, she had seen peaches in a box outside a small store, and she had stopped to look at them, so he had bought a kilo. Now the peaches were on a large plate on the card table at which they sat. There were 7 of them, but one of them was flawed. It looked as good as the others, almost the size of a tennis ball, nice red fading to light green. But where the stem had been, there was now a break that went straight down into the heart of the seed. He placed the biggest and best-looking peach on the small plate in front of the girl, and then took the flawed peach and began to remove the skin. When he had half the skin off the peach, he ate that side, neither of them talking, both of them just being there and not being excited or anything. No plans, that is. The man held the half-eaten peach and looked down into the cavity, into the open seed. The girl looked too. While they were looking, 2 feelers poked out from the cavity. They were attached to a kind of brown knob head, which followed the feelers, and then 2 large legs took a strong grip on the edge of the cavity and hoisted some of the rest of whatever it was out of the seed, and stopped there a moment, as if to look around. The man studied the seed dweller, and so of course did the girl. The creature paused only a fraction of a second, and then continued to come out of the seed, to walk down the eaten side of the peach to wherever it was going. The girl had never seen anything like it. A whole big thing made out of brown color, a knob head, feelers, and a great many legs. It was very active, too, almost businesslike, you might say. The man placed the peach back on the plate. The creature moved off the peach onto the surface of the white plate. There it came to a thoughtful stop. "Who is it?" the girl said. "Gaston." "Where does he live?" "Well, he used to live in this peach seed, but now that the peach has been harvested and sold, and I have eaten half of it, it looks as if he's out of house and home." "Aren't you going to squash him?" "No, of course not. Why should I?" "He's a bug. Ugh!" "He's not at all. He's Gaston, the grand bolividaire." Everybody hollers when a bug comes out of an apple, but you don't holler or anything. "Of course not. How would we like it if somebody hollered every time we came out of our house?" "Why should they?" "Precisely. So why should we holler at Gaston?" "He's not the same as us." "Well, not exactly, but he's the same as a lot of other occupants of peach seeds. Now the poor fellow hasn't got a home, and there he is with all that pure design and handsome form, and nowhere to go." "Handsome?" "Gaston is just about the handsomest of his kind I've ever seen." "What's he saying?" "Well, he's a little confused. Now, inside that house of his, he had everything in order. Bed here, porch there, etc." "Show me." The man picked up the peach, leaving Gaston entirely alone on the white plate. He removed the peeling and ate the rest of the peach. "Nobody else I know would do that," the girl said. "They'd throw it away." "I can't imagine why. It's a perfectly good peach." He opened the seed and placed the two sides not far from Gaston. The girl studied the open halves. "Is that where he lives?" "It's where he used to live. Gaston is out in the world and on his own now. You can see for yourself how comfortable he was in there. He had everything." "Now what has he got?" "Not very much, I'm afraid." "What's he going to do?" "What are we going to do?" "Well, we're not going to squash him. That's one thing we're not going to do," the girl said. "What are we going to do then?" "Put him back?" "Oh, that house is finished." "Well, he can't live in our house, can he?" "Not happily." "Can he live in our house at all?" "Well, he could try, I suppose. Don't you want a peach?" "Only if it's a peach with somebody in the seed." "Well, see if you can find a peach that has an opening at the top, because if you can, that'll be a peach in which you're likeliest to find somebody." The girl examined each of the peaches on the big plate. "They're all shut," she said. "Well, eat one then." "No, I want the same kind that you ate, with somebody in the seed." "Well, to tell you the truth, the peach I ate would be considered a bad peach, so of course stores don't like to sell them. I was sold that one by mistake, most likely. And so now Gaston is without a home, and we've got 6 perfect peaches to eat." "I don't want a perfect peach. I want one with people." "Well, I'll go out and see if I can find one." "Where will I go?" "You'll go with me unless you'd rather stay. I'll only be 5 minutes." "If the phone rings, what shall I say?" "I don't think it'll ring, but if it does, say hello and see who it is." "If it's my mother, what shall I say?" "Tell her I've gone to get you a bad peach, and anything else you want to tell her." "If she wants me to go back, what shall I say?" "Say yes if you want to go back." "Do you want me to?" "Of course not, but the important thing is what you want, not what I want." "Why is that the important thing?" "Because I want you to be where you want to be." "I want to be here." "I'll be right back." He put on socks and shoes and a jacket and went out. She watched Gaston, trying to find out what to do next. Gaston wandered around on the plate, but everything seemed wrong, and he didn't know what to do or where to go. The telephone rang, and her mother said she was sending the chauffeur to pick her up because there was a little party for somebody's daughter, who was only 6, and then tomorrow they would fly back to New York. "Let me speak to your father," she said. "He's gone to get a peach." "One peach." "One with people." "You haven't been with your father 2 days, and already you sound like him." "There are peaches with people in them, I know. I saw one of them come out." "A bug." "Not a bug, Gaston." "Who?" "Gaston, the grand something." "Somebody else gets a peach with a bug in it and throws it away. But not him. He makes up a lot of foolishness about it." "It's not foolishness." All right. Don't get angry at me about a horrible peach bug of some kind." "Gaston is right here, just outside his broken house, and I'm not angry at you." "You'll have a lot of fun at the party." "Okay." "Are you glad you saw your father?" "Of course I am." "Is he funny?" "Yes." "Is he crazy?" "Yes. I mean, no, he doesn't holler when he sees a bug crawling out of a peach seed or anything. He just looks at it carefully." "But it is just a bug, isn't it, really?" "That's all it is." "And we'll have to squash it?" "That's right. I can't wait to see you, darling. These 2 days have been like 2 years to me. Goodbye." The girl watched Gaston on the plate, and she actually didn't like him. He was all ugh, as he had been in the first place. He didn't have a home anymore, and he was wandering around on the white plate, and he was silly and wrong and ridiculous and useless and all sorts of other things. She cried a little, but only inside, because long ago she had decided she didn't like crying, because if you ever started to cry, it seemed as if there was so much to cry about, you almost couldn't stop. And she didn't like that at all. The open halves of the peach seed were wrong too. They were ugly or something. They weren't clean. The man bought a kilo of peaches, but found no flawed peaches among them. So he bought another kilo at another store, and this side there were two that were flawed. And this time there were two that were flawed. He hurried back to his flat and let himself in. His daughter was in her room, in her best dress. "My mother phoned," she said, "and she's sending the chauffeur for me because there's another birthday party." "Another?" "I mean, there's always a lot of them in New York." "Will the chauffeur bring you back?" "No, we're flying to New York tomorrow." "Oh." "I liked being in your house." "I liked having you here." "Why do you live here?" "This is my home." "It's nice, but it's a lot different from our home." "Yes, I suppose it is." "It's kind of like Gaston's house." "Hey, where is Gaston?" "I squashed him." "Really? Why?" "Everybody squashes bugs and worms." "Oh, well, I found you a peach." "I don't want a peach anymore." "Okay." He got her dressed, and he was packing her stuff when the chauffeur arrived. He went down the 3 flights of stairs with his daughter and the chauffeur, and in the street he was about to hug the girl when he decided he had better not. They shook hands instead, like strangers. He watched the huge car drive off. Then he went around the corner where he took coffee every morning, feeling a little, he thought, like Gaston on the white plate. The end. I like this story, as I said before, because of its simplicity, and I also like this story because of its great use of the spider as a symbol for the larger issues between the man and the girl in this story. What do you think the spider symbolized, and in what ways did the spider come to be synonymous with both the man and the girl? We can talk about this in class.